plastic case formed delicate protuberance visible through the waist fringes of his professionally tailored leather pants. Brian fixes his gaze on Danny, slowly rose up out of the chase, and playfully yet brusquely pushed Danny down the stairs in a way that was initially not cool.
Why is it worded like that?
Because this is Game Grumps.
Oh! I just realized that.
That was initially not cool, but gradually became cool. As Danny tumbled down the velvet, a sly smile crept across his face as he realized that this evening was going to be about one thing and one thing alone. Him. Next, darkness. Danny awoke slowly. He could not tell how much time had passed. Perhaps only seconds, but possibly hours. Although Danny's eyes had not yet adjusted to the darkness around him, he could sense movement. The stench of man sweat assaulted his tender nostrils in such the same way that he would soon have his junk assaulted by Brian's eager, probing mouth. He could still faintly hear Rush playing in the darkness, but the song had moved on to a live version of Tom Sawyer, which the band had played for Brian.
Why?
Which the band had played at Brian's celebrity-filled 35th birthday party held on international waters on a chartered yacht captained by supermodels. As his lips brushed against the 500 thread count satin velvet sheets, Danny realized that he was in Brian's custom-made solid oak bed. Somebody must have gently placed him there while unconscious, and although he had no memory of the event, Danny appreciated the tender way in which he had been tucked in, stripped of all his clothes, given a full-body shave, rubbed down with white rose petals, and patted dry. Suddenly, the freshly moistened lips smacking together rang through the darkness, and as a shadow approached the bedside, it was Brian, and he was carrying a glow-in-the-dark lotion sampler given to him by President Obama, a personal friend. I see you're already hard, winked Brian. Good, you'll be needing that.
I'm trying to play Gunfight, bro.
Play like
Shh. Slowly yet violently, Brian placed his perfectly manicured right hand on the sheet covering Danny and ripped it off of the bed, throwing it so that it landed in a perfectly folded pile next to the extensive collection of erotic Grecian sculptures Brian acquired on one of his many all-expenses-paid trips to Europe. Brian squirted an inappropriately large amount of lotion onto his velvety, grabby palms.
Yes, I grabby.
Danny softly moaned with anticipation, boredom, or one of the many other irrelevant, uninteresting emotions. Brian brusquely slapped his lotion-filled hands onto Danny's hairy, unflattering thighs.
Wait. I have a question.
What?
It says he gave him a full body shave, but then it says he got hairy thighs.
Shh! Don't question it.
Don't question the smut, JT. Just listen.
Brian brusquely slapped his lotion-filled hands onto Danny's unflattering thighs, and slowly began to rub in small circular motions while whispering the lyrics to the dirty song "Any Way You Want It," which Brian has ghost written by himself with no help. As Danny's thighs got moister and moister, Brian's hands worked their way up to Danny's poorly maintained man bush. Just as Brian was about to take a one-way trip to Snacktown, he paused. "It is time," he screamed, slamming his open mouth on the Danny's erect and unimpressive penis. Danny passed out for pleasure / terror / nobody cares, and so it began. And then the next paragraph starts with 10.3 million years later, Danny awoke in the surface of Gropinus 4 in the hashtag butt system. Robot Brian was asleep on top of him, his metal mouth surrounding Danny's still erect and still not very impressive dick. What happened? Asked Danny, stupidly scratching his numb face. Where are we? Robot Brian awoke with a start and began to speak in a metallic, commanding voice, not unlike that of a young Benedict Cumberbatch if he had been a robot or whatever. Danny, many eons have now passed since I first began to beej you, and as you may well imagine, the beej started out amazingly. Although you were asleep, your body was racked with pleasure as my human mouth began to expertly work its way around your pallid, distasteful groin. I can't. I did everything a man could do to another man, including stuff that I had to look up online because I had never heard of it because it was too gross. And despite all my mouth efforts, you slept. Cities rose and fell, and you still slept.
Damn, that had good.
All of human consciousness was uploaded to a vast database, and our bodies were replaced. All of human consciousness was uploaded to a vast database, and our bodies were replaced by superior synthetic ones, and still you slept. And even once I had robot hands, I used them to rub you all over, especially in ways I know would not have been cool with you had you been awake. Still you slept. As Earth blew up for some reason, I carried you to the final escaping starship, my mouth all the while on your disgusting wiener. And took you here to the most distant human colony. As I continued to work you over, still you slept, and gradually, after every other member of the human race had gone, the pace at which my mouth was bobbing up and down on your eager... Wait.
This is really distracting.
The pace at which my mouth was bobbing up and down on your eager, boring shaft slowed. And then I slept. Robot Brian paused and stood. And now, said Robot Brian, metal hands held aloft in triumph, I shall finish you off. Danny gasped in pleasure or something as Robot Brian threw himself towards Danny's gross junk, using exactly the perfect amount of mouth friction. Robot Brian brought Danny to the brink of ecstasy and then stopped and once again stood. Just kidding, bro, laughed Robot Brian. I'd never give you a real beej. That'd be gross. High five. As Robot Brian reaches out his hand for an amazing high five, Danny died. And the human race died with him. Well, that wasn't very cool of him, thought Robot Brian to himself as he began masturbating into the sunset. That wasn't cool at all.
Matthew.
Is that it, bro?
Yeah, that's it.
Right,
I was recording all of this!
Is it the level of quality Kevion puts in his smut? I won't read it.
What?
This is the kind of level of quality Kevion needs to put in his smut.
Kevion should be taking notes.
I couldn't fucking stop laughing the entire time.
Oh, I died so many times, dude.
Team Gabe got clapped so hard.
Oh my god.
Was it sufficiently distracting?
I'm so glad I didn't record it from the beginning. We should have started from the beginning. It's fine. We got what we needed for the content. I'm posting this.
You're posting this?
I'm posting it. I got to.
Oh my god.
It's gonna be titled fucking
The
two
Beej.
guys play gunfight where the other one reads fucking smut. Something like that. I'll come up with something.
Now,
dude.
the backstory behind this is fucking these two are bandmates in a band called Ninja Sex Party. Brian has a wife, and this is from the words of Danny. Brian has a wife, and they're both straight, and they would never do this to each other, but just lately he likes to torture him by threatening to give him a blowjob. So he wrote smut about it.
Wait, Danny wrote what?
No. Brian wrote the smut.
Brian wrote this?
Yeah.
That was thoroughly entertaining.
I'm ending the recording now.